It's been a minute. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nerdjock Gamer channel. I'm Harbinger50, and it has been a while since I've put up a video. It's been a while since I've recorded a video. I've been doing a lot of other stuff, some of which is not done, some of which is. But I wanted to do some more videos so that you all could see my newest purchase. Boom! HTC Vive. So, if you're not in the loop on that, it is virtual reality. This is the head unit. It's got two motion tracking hand unit controllers that have touch pads, along with a couple triggers, a couple more buttons on top, and on the sides here. Let's see if we can get a better look at that. So you got a button there, trigger, touchpad, which is, yeah, it's a touchpad, but it's also got, you know, it can also click. It can also be used as buttons depending on the game. I went through the tutorial last night, and it basically does like the different Xbox buttons or PlayStation buttons, whichever you're used to. And in one case, they actually made the whole thing in the virtual world flip over, and it had 4 more uses for those buttons. There's a menu button and a home button as well. There you go. And let's see what else there are. Let me see if I can show you. Up in that corner, that is your motion tracking for the room scale feature. There's another one in this opposite corner. And that's so you can actually walk around in the room. You'll notice that my green screen, you may notice, I don't know, is actually up against the wall now instead of like on the little, what do you call it, the hanger, the rack, whatever. Instead of being like right behind me, I've managed to get it along the wall and down this way about halfway. Because there's videos, if you look at some of it, of some of the commercials or ads or whatever online, they've done what they call mixed reality, where they do the video game as is, but then they put the user in the game. So think of it like my typical videos. I've got me up in this corner over here, you know, just my face, with the rest of it green screened out so that I look like, you know, so my head's just kind of floating in the game, so that you can see my reactions. This is that to the next level. The difference is that, though, for the more professional looks, they've actually got like another person with a camera following them, following the player, and keeping an eye on their view, and, you know, so that you're always like over their shoulder or whatever. I've seen a couple other videos of people doing it out of their own homes where they have a stationary camera and they somehow have both. They have like their view from the head unit in one screen, and then up in the other side they have that mixed reality view that shows them walking around in the game. I'm not sure how that's working. I will be trying to figure it out. But yeah, so we've got sensing units, or room scale, we'll just call them room scale units. We've got the motion tracking controller hand units. We've got the head unit, and it lets you attach whichever headphones. It comes with earbuds, but nah, not gonna do that. And of course, with this HTC Vive, you have to connect it to a very beefy PC. Same with the Oculus Rift, which is a competitor. Does not at this moment have hand controllers, but they come out like next week. So it'll be interesting to see how these two compete. There's also the PlayStation PS VR. I've had a chance to test out all of them, so this is just my opinion. Y'all think what you want. I went with the Vive. They all price out to about the same once you get the hand units added on for the Oculus Rift. And if you don't have a PlayStation 4 at all, and you buy that plus the VR setup for that, that one actually ends up being the most expensive right now. But in my opinion, that one is actually, like, from a cosmetic standpoint and ergonomic standpoint, it's the best from looks and feel. It's a lot easier to adjust. It has like one button in the back for doing the head section, and then one button for you press and you can slide the view screen forward and backward. This one, not quite as pretty. It's actually probably the oddest looking one. Rift is a lot like this, except it's smoother here, and I'm trying to remember what the difference was on the side, but it was more rigid, I remember. And it had built-in headphones, which were just like your typical headphones, like open, just covering the ear, not even closed or anything. But overall, I like this one more just because of all the games. It is partnered with Steam, Valve, so you get a lot of games that I can't make up my mind about. Although with PlayStation, I did get to try that out at my buddy's house, and they had a Batman game that was pretty badass, I will admit. A lot of the demos on that were pretty cool. I've yet to touch a lot of the demos for the Vive. Rift, they had it. The Rift and the Vive were both set up at the Microsoft Store, about 45 minutes away, over in Durham for my local people. It's at South Point. They've got both set up. Oculus Rift, for whatever reason, they don't really have games set up for it. They have a bunch of interactive, or not even interactive, but immersive short films. There's one roller coaster ride thing. What was the other one? It was just immersive films. There were some other ones I didn't get to do, but they all looked like they were basically... I think they had Minecraft. I don't know much about... I have not gotten into Minecraft, so I didn't even try it. There was another one that looked interesting that they did not have installed, so I couldn't do it. I can't remember what it is. But yeah, as far as demos go, that is a pretty crappy setup, so not helping sell Rifts. And just for anybody who is trying to get more information, the Rift has somewhat of a partnership with Xbox. They just released an article the other day about how they're putting out a update so that you can play your Xbox games through the Rift. Don't go getting excited when you actually drill down into the article and read it. It's just viewing them. Now, if you're turning around, it's not going to matter. You're still just going to have the screen in front of you. Whereas with this, you look around, or with the Rift games or the PlayStation games, you're looking around, you see a room. It's awesome. It's so... You have to experience it, and I recommend finding a way to test them all out. Best Buy, I think, has some of the PlayStation setups. The one in Cary, I think, had it for my local people. So there's a way to test them all out if you don't know somebody who has them. But I went with Vive because of the Valve support, Steam game list, games library there. It already had the hand units. It's got the room scale sensors. It just seems ahead of the game right now, every step of the way, because in a couple more months, one of the big drawbacks for all of them right now, cords. It's got pretty good reach, at least for my space. You can go into much larger rooms with these compared to what I'm set up in right now. But the cord is obviously a limitation because you have to keep track of it when you're playing so that you don't step on it, trip on it, that sort of thing. Vive actually has a wireless adapter coming out in a couple months. It's going to be kind of pricey. It's like, right now they're saying $220 on top of what you've already spent on these things, which all pan out to about $800. It's a little more than $900 with the whole PlayStation setup. So another $220 is just like, God, you're killing us, but that would be an awesome feature. My question is, how well can you do all the video and data across Wi-Fi? We'll find out. They also have in development actual gloves. Not power gloves. Don't think Nintendo, that shit back in the day. Nintendo was way ahead of its time. And, it wasn't even that good. It was just, whatever. But yeah, they have actual gloves that are coming out that look kind of like weightlifter gloves, just fingerless. And from the video, it looked like you could strap these on or have them tied in somehow so that you still had the sensing part for the motion. And the fingers were actually like individual. You see the people go like this on screen. You see the hand go like this. So that much more interactivity going on. That is going to be pretty cool too, depending on how, you know, these developers work their games and stuff. So, like I said, I haven't played a lot of the games for this yet. Just a few demos. I picked up Project Cars, tested that out last night. Made me feel dizzy. And I also tried the Space Pirate Trainer. You get to have guns. You can exchange a gun for a shield. It's kind of like an arcade shooter, and you have waves, and that's what a lot of the stuff seems to be right now, is just waves of enemies coming at you, zombies, just regular bad guys or whatever. In Space Pirate, it was just floating bots. But there's some of them that are coming out. There's one that looks pretty promising. It was Arizona Sunshine or something, comes out in a week or so. And it actually shows them walking around and picking up stuff and shooting zombies and that. And the main mode of moving around right now seems to be teleporting. And they did it in the with the PlayStation as well. You point somewhere, and it shows like a little line, and you click, and it hops you over there. But there were a couple others that I think are actually using the touchpad, and I'll have to find them to try it out. To like, I guess if you're pushing forward with your thumb, maybe it's pushing you that way. So, you know, basically like having your analog stick and pushing forward, I guess. We shall see. So that's a rundown of the HTC Vive. I'm obviously going to get more into it, and my room is not quite exactly how I want it yet. My current desk takes up that much room all the way across, more than it needs to. So I'll probably swap it out for something that's more shallow, gives me that much more space. That was one cool thing, like with the setup, when you're setting up your room so that the room scale stuff knows where you are, and it gives you boundaries so that you don't run into shit. You trace it out. You're walking along and you just hold this out while you're pulling your trigger, and you trace around everything. And I had to do it twice because the first time I was like inches off of having enough room. It seemed like enough room, but then when you add in this whole desk part, it took out that enough that I had to redo it and trace a little tighter up against my screen here. So yeah, that's just one of the little things to keep in mind if you're gonna get something like this. You're gonna need space. Now, right now, PlayStation doesn't have that ability so much. When I was playing it, you could lean forward. There was a really cool part in the Batman game where I was like interrogating the Joker, hanging him over the edge of a building, and you can like creep up to the edge of the building, look down. You get that real vertigo. It's awesome. And you know, I'm getting the same sense in the HTC Vive. Rift is supposed to come up with something. It has some sort of positional tracker that goes on the desk. And I was reading that you can buy another one, and it'll do the same thing as our room scale sensors. So, but again, it's another cost that's going to come with the Rift that's already built in to HTC Vive. So there's just a little more that you can do with the Vive. And granted, they've been out for roughly 8 months. PlayStation's hasn't been out as long, I don't think. But we're probably close to the next slight updated versions coming out in another 4, 5, 6 months. I didn't feel like waiting. What you gonna do? You gotta jump on the train at some point, right? But yeah, so there's your rundown. HTC Vive, Oculus Rift, both need beefy computers to run them. Rift might be slightly less beefy because they put out an update I was reading. They're really, depending on what you're going for, they're kind of neck and neck. You just got to pick your poison. It's going to be like the HD DVD versus Blu-ray. Which one do you think is going to win? Me and my buddy, we had a debate going on for a while, and I was always saying Blu-ray because it had more potential, disc space. He was always saying HD DVD. I don't remember why. Obviously, he was wrong. I won that one, buddy. But yeah. right now, I don't think any one of them. I don't think it's going to turn into that kind of race. It's not going to be VCR versus Betamax. It's not going to be the Blu-ray versus HD DVD. It's going to be more like Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, Wii, or well, Nintendo. I don't know why I said Wii, but they're all going to have a place, I think, because of who's backing them. Sony's backing theirs. Xbox currently is backing Rift. HTC Vive has the Steam Valve support. So a lot of factors to plug into your little choosing equation there. One thing about the Rift, and I'm not trying to like rag on the Rift, but because they're partnered with Microsoft Xbox, makes me wonder how that's going to go, because I've also just read that, last week, that Microsoft's going to put out their own virtual reality head unit. But their price point is more to the $300 to $400, and it's only a head unit. There's no talk of controllers, no talk of anything else. So it sounds like it's going to be more of a I don't know, like entry level sort of device. I don't know. No telling how that's going to play out. It might end up being a totally, independent sort of thing, doing its own, might fill its own niche compared to gaming with Rift or gaming with Vive or PlayStation's VR. So, like I said, lots of things to consider. Do your research. Do what's going to work best for you if you're going to jump into it. Be an early adopter like me. We can all suffer together when they come out with the next version in a few months, cheaper or same price but better, specs. That is going to do it for this episode. I just wanted to get that out there, let y'all know about it, see what's going to be coming. I have to figure out how it's all going to record the game, run through Rift, run through the PC, and then mixing and matching that all up together. So that's what's going to come. Let me know what you think about it. If you've tried it out, what you think, what games you've tried, because Jesus, there's like 600 or more on Steam right now. Granted, 95% of them probably shit. Still doesn't make it easy to choose. But the good thing is there's lots of demos and free to play, so lots of ways to test it out. So go ahead, shoot me your comments, your questions, suggestions below, along with your trolling, and you will see me in my next video. Peace.